It starts innocently enough. People tell you you're beautiful. You're tall, slim, and have the kind of bone structure that makes artists weep. You could totally be a model, they say, and somewhere deep inside, you start to believe it. You imagine the glamorous shoots, the lights, the runways, jet setting to Paris, sipping champagne and wearing designer clothes. You'll be the it girl. Who wouldn't want that? Turns out your champagne is sparkling water. But the moment you take your first step into the modeling world, the cracks in the fantasy begin to show. It's not lights, camera, action. It's early mornings, cold coffee, and countless hours waiting in line with 50 other girls who look just like you. The clothes? You don't get to keep them. The champagne? Non-existent. And the jet setting? Sure, but you're stuck in economy, sandwiched between a crying baby and a guy who insists on manspreading. Welcome to the modeling industry. It sucks. Not all of the time, of course, but let's just say the runway to success is littered with potholes, and not the chic, edgy kind designers love. If you're a model, chances are the pressure to look perfect started way before you signed your first contract. Maybe it was beauty pageants, competitive dance, or school talent shows. You weren't just a child, you were a project, taught to smile a little wider, stand a little straighter, and above all, never, ever let anyone see your flaws. Your weekends were spent parading in sequence while judges dissected your appearance like it was a science experiment. Too much makeup, not enough poise. She needs to lose a little baby fat. Baby fat? You were 10. By the time you hit your teenage years, the rules were clear. Beauty equals worth. People cared less about your grades and more about whether your skin was clear and your waist was tiny. Your self-esteem became a currency, and the only way to raise its value was through external validation. Okay. So you're 23 now. Welcome to the modeling industry, where the only thing thinner than your paycheck is your waistline. Breaking into this world isn't as glamorous as you might imagine. From the moment you decide to pursue modeling, your journey begins with an endless parade of casting calls, auditions, and critiques, all revolving around one thing: how closely you'll fit the mold of the ideal model. Spoiler alert, the mold is impossibly tiny. You walk into your first agency meeting full of hope. Your portfolio, a mix of amateur photo shoots and your cousin's poorly lit iPhone snaps, is tucked under your arm like it's the next Mona Lisa. And you've practiced your walk 100 times in the mirror. The agents scan you with laser-like precision, their expressions giving nothing away. They measure everything: your height, bust, waist, hips, jotting down numbers like they're recalibrating a robot. It's a dehumanizing experience. You're no longer a person, you're a set of dimensions. Once the tape measure is put away, the feedback begins. They say, you're a little fuller in the thighs than we'd like, and you wonder if they're sizing you for jeans or auditioning you for the role of a breadstick. Your face is great, but we'll need you to lose an inch around your hips. Or the dreaded, come back to us when you've slimmed down. You've barely started, and already you feel like you're failing. But you don't quit. No, because the allure of the runway is too strong, and you're convinced that you can make the cut if you just try hard enough. From that moment on, you embrace the holy trinity of lettuce, celery, and black coffee, praying for the day someone invents a calorie-free cheeseburger. Carbs? Absolutely not. Sugar? Don't even think about it. You start carrying around a mental calculator, obsessively tallying calories like it's your second job, and the guilt? It's relentless. A single indulgence, a slice of pizza, a piece of cake, spirals into hours of self-criticism. You stare at your reflection, pinching at imaginary fat and wondering how many hours of cardio it'll take to erase the crime you just committed. And then there are the tricks of the trade. You quickly learn that some models have taken dieting to extreme and dangerous levels. There are whispers, cotton balls soaked in juice. Because why eat food when you can accessorize your stomach with office supplies? Laxatives are passed around like breath mints, rebranded as detox teas to make them seem harmless. Lemon water and cayenne pepper become the unofficial drink of the industry, touted as the miracle cure for a slow metabolism. The worst part? It's normalized. No one bats an eye. Agents, photographers, and even other models treat these unhealthy habits like they're just part of the job. You overhear one girl casually mention that she hasn't eaten solid food in 3 days to prep for a shoot. Another boasts about her 10,000-step routine to tighten up before a big runway event. It's not just unhealthy, It's a toxic culture that feeds on insecurity and desperation. But the casting process doesn't care about your health. It's a meat market, plain and simple. You show up at open calls with dozens of other girls, all wearing their best model off-duty outfits. Minimal makeup, simple black tank tops, and skinny jeans. You sit in a crowded room, clutching your portfolio like it's the last life vest on the Titanic, wondering if you'll even get a glance, waiting for your turn to walk for a casting director who barely glances at you before saying, "Thank you, next." Sometimes you're asked to pose in lingerie or swimwear under harsh fluorescent lights, with a group of strangers judging your every move. It's dehumanizing. You leave wondering if you were rejected because your walk wasn't strong enough or because your hips were a centimeter too wide. And the rejection, it's constant. Agencies don't sugarcoat things. They'll tell you outright if you don't fit their standards. You're not tall enough. You're not thin enough. You're not edgy enough. It chips away at your self-esteem, one casting at a time, until you start believing that your worth is entirely tied to your measurements. You begin to scrutinize yourself in ways you never have before. Every mirror becomes a battleground, every fitting an opportunity for self-doubt. Even when you do book a job, the pressure doesn't let up. On the morning of a photo shoot, you step onto the set feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety. But before you can even get to hair and makeup, someone is pointing out problem areas that need to be fixed. The worst part is that none of this feels optional. If you want to make it in the industry, you have to play by its rules. You have to be thin, flawless, and willing to endure whatever it takes to get the shot. The moment you sign with an agency, your body stops being yours. It belongs to the designers, photographers, and casting directors who critique it like they're shopping for furniture. Lose an inch here, tone up there. Your skin looks dull. Fix it. It's relentless. You're weighed, measured, and scrutinized. Every mole, freckle, and curve is up for discussion. And if you don't fit into their impossibly narrow standards, you're replaced. No one cares if you're tired, sick, or stressed. All that matters is squeezing into a size 0 dress, a task that feels more like an Olympic event than a wardrobe requirement. It doesn't stop there. On shoots, you're poked, prodded, and twisted into uncomfortable poses. Your hair is teased until your scalp feels like it's on fire, and your skin is slathered in makeup that clogs your pores for days. You're treated like a product, something to be molded and perfected, not a person. The modeling industry is a breeding ground for exploitation. You're young, naive, and desperate to succeed. A perfect target. Photographers push boundaries, agents make inappropriate comments, and clients expect you to do whatever it takes to land a campaign. You've heard the stories. Shoots that take a creepy turn faster than a bad Tinder date. Agents hinting that you'll need to network with certain clients to stay on their radar. Or models being coerced into contracts that make them little more than glorified props. But you don't think it'll happen to you. Until it does. You're told to keep quiet, not to complain, because there's always someone ready to take your place. And the unspoken truth? Staying silent might just be the way to stay employed. Financially, it's no better. Your agency takes a hefty cut of your earnings, leaving you wondering if modeling is just an elaborate scheme to make accountants rich. And somehow you're still the one paying for travel, comp cards, and test shoots. You're stuck in a bizarre cycle where you owe your agency money for a career they're supposed to help you succeed in. At some point, you start to wonder, is the glamour even worth it when your bank account is on life support? But let's say you defy the odds and make it to the top. You're walking the runways in Paris, gracing magazine covers, and living the life most people only dream about. But before you get too comfortable, here's a harsh reality check. You've got about 5 to 7 years to enjoy this so-called dream before the industry decides you're too old. That's right, by your late 20s, early 30s if you're lucky, the fashion world starts eyeing fresher faces, which is code for you've aged out. Suddenly, the same designers who once called you a muse are now scouting teenagers who don't remember a time before TikTok. Your agent starts calling you timeless, which sounds great until you realize it's just a polite way of saying you've hit your expiration date. You're no longer the hot new thing, but we'll see what we can do. The runway calls dwindle. The big campaigns go to someone younger, thinner, newer. Your name slips out of the headlines as quickly as it's entered. The industry that once worshipped you now acts like you're an antique. Still beautiful, but not what they're selling anymore. In the fashion world, youth isn't just an advantage, it's a requirement. And let's not pretend the transition is easy. You might try to pivot into commercial modeling or acting, but good luck competing with the next wave of faces who are younger and hungrier than you. The clock is always ticking, and in the modeling world, it feels like it's set to double speed. Plus, years of crash dieting, high heels, and stress take a toll. Your body is worn out, your metabolism is shot, and your mental health is in shambles. Anxiety, depression, and body dysmorphia are almost inevitable after years of being told you're not good enough. And the physical toll? Don't even get started. Chronic back pain from bad posture, joint problems from years of walking in heels, and digestive issues from years of restrictive eating. When the jobs dry up, you're left with a giant question mark. Modeling was your life. It was your identity. And now you're trying to figure out who you are without it. Some models transition into other careers, but many struggle to adjust. The transition isn't just hard, it's heartbreaking. You spent years chasing a dream that ultimately left you broken, and now you're left to pick up the pieces. Being a fashion model might look glamorous, but behind the scenes, it's a brutal, unforgiving industry. The pressure, the rejection, the exploitation, it's enough to break even the strongest person. So the next time you see a model on the runway, remember, they're not just walking, they're surviving. And if you still think you'd trade places with them, well, maybe try walking a mile in their stilettos first. Just don't say I didn't warn you.